welcome back. You're still watching Power Breakfast to continue our coverage of the party primaries, and we now want to link up with our reporter Bernard Ndong, who's at the Kinyanjui Primary School that is in Dagoretti South constituency. It's one of the polling stations, and I believe a tallying center as well. Bernard, can you give us any results from where you are?
A very good morning to you, Fred Indimuli, back there in the studio. As you've rightfully put it, I'm here at the Kinyanjui Primary School, which was also one of the polling stations in this particular area. It is also serving as a tallying center, and more specifically for Dagoretti South. Now, what I understand is that the voting process culminated yesterday at about 6 p.m. and then after that was the counting process, which I understand took about several hours for this particular specific polling station, and it concluded around midnight. And given the fact that this is actually a tallying center, there was about 55 polling stations that streamed in their results immediately after, and it took quite a while. I can tell you for a fact right now, the returning officer was here just a few minutes ago, but he's disappeared because he has a lot on his plate right now, because he's just trying to tally all the results that he has, because this is supposed to have exactly 57 polling stations, because it's about 23 with several streams, but as it is, he said he is not yet allowed to release the official results as yet, because he needs to collect all the specifics, all the 57 tallying set, and you can see he's just arrived. I can see them just planning things. That is the returning officer, Mr. Amos, and he's joining us in just a few minutes as he finalizes things, because given the fact that it's taken a lengthy process the entire night, I can tell you tired eyes, and if we can just gesture at the returning officer to just come and join us here on Citizen TV. You're live on Citizen TV. You can see there is just smiling over whether or not to join us. That is the returning officer, Mr. Amos, just fine-tuning things. I think it would be important for you to just give us an idea of what the situation is right now. As I've mentioned to you, this is a place that serves as one of the key polling stations. Remember, this is for this particular region, Dagoretti South. You have the Member of Parliament, the incumbent Dennis Wawero, of course, battling it out against John Kiari, who is actually positioned at one particular end of this hall at the Kinyanjui Primary School. And we're joined by the returning officer, Mr. Amos. It's been a long night for this gentleman. You can see how tired he is, but nonetheless, he's doing as much as possible to ensure that the process has been fair, free, and everything up to place. Mr. Amos, thank you so much for joining us live on Citizen TV. Just update us on the situation. Why haven't you yet released the results so far?
I'm still doing the tallying process.
What has made the process take so long so far?
We are still now splitting from wards to constituent level.
Just update us. Yesterday evening, the counting process concluded late into the night. We understand this is actually a tallying center for Dagoretti South. What are the arrangements? What do you think? What do you think is causing the delay so far?
So far, due to, I can say, we had some polling station opening a bit 8, not as expected 6. So they were adjourned 1 hour. And then we have a huge turn-up of people around the polling station, making each polling station not close exactly at 6 when it was expected, but 1 hour was given as an allowances.
Given the fact that this is a tallying center, how many polling stations are we looking at? How many polling stations are you supposed to have at the end of the day?
23 polling stations.
You mentioned about streams. When it's broken down, it's about 50-something. I didn't understand the mathematics. You talked about streams. What is the correct number?
Yeah, streams, they are 57. Yeah.
So, given the fact that there are 57 so far, how many have you received so far?
I've received 56. I can see the last one is almost arriving.
Which is the last one? Which one are you waiting for? Then you're able to release the results.
For Mkarara polling station.
Sorry, just repeat.
Mkarara polling station.
Mkarara polling station. And once you have received Mkarara polling station, when do you expect to have the results? When are you likely to announce the results?
As soon as they are ready.
Thank you very much. That is the returning officer right here at the tallying center for Dagoretti South, just giving us an inkling of what the situation is. Very guarded as far as the results are concerned, understandably. Of course, he's waiting for one particular polling station, which he says has just arrived here at the Kinyanjui Primary School, and hopefully we'll be able to get details, finer details, exactly numbers. I know what people are waiting for most specifically is the numbers, and of course in the subsequent hour we'll try as much as possible to link up with some of the aspirants. You can see here there's a multitude of people here just observing the proceedings. They're waiting to find out how the results panned out. Fred.
Thank you, Bernard Ndong, there live from the Kinyanjui Primary School in Dagoretti South constituency, which is the constituency tallying center. Of course, the aspirants, they are still waiting for the results. Yet to be announced in the parliamentary race in Jubilee Party primaries. Of course, that particular race beating individuals like Dennis Waweru, John Kiarie, also known as KJ. Those are the two gentlemen, at least I can remember, who are vying for that particular party ticket to become MP of Dagoretti South. Of course, we'll go back to Bernard Ndong in a short while, within the hour, once they are ready to make that announcement. Meanwhile, in studio, we continue with Senators John Lonyangapuo from West Pokot, Boni Halwale from Kakamega, and Kimani Wamatangi from Kiambu counties. And let's now talk about there are big news for today, and that has to do with the NASA announcement. We've really been waiting for this, and as of yesterday, there was some level of uncertainty on whether or not the big rally would proceed. But today, on the front pages of the Daily Nation and the Standard, you can see NASA chiefs to release lineup at today's rally, NASA to unveil its candidate today. We do have a member of that coalition, Senator Boni Halwale. What should we expect at this NASA rally today?
Big things. You expect big things. In fact, as I drove
How big is big?
As I drove into the Royal Media headquarters,
yes,
around about 5 minutes after 6, it was still dusk. It was still dark. Yeah. And I passed next to Uhuru Park. People had already started streaming into Uhuru Park. We are set. We are good to go. We are not announcing the NASA flag bearer today. What we are unveiling is the NASA government. We are unveiling government today, which will form a team that will have its leadership through what you people call the flag bearer, but founded on the strong pillars that our flag bearer will be a leader of a team where it is only after consultation with the other core principles that he will be making presidential decisions. But surely, Senator Halwale, we've been waiting for this day, and you promised us that the flag bearer will be named today. The flag bearer will be named today. The flag bearer will be named today. But as we are not looking at it as that small, but we are looking at the expanded picture, which is... So we will know the NASA flag bearer today? Today. Yes. Today you're going to have a name. And in fact, this is the day that marks two things. Yes. The first one is that Uhuru starts going home today. And the second one is that the Kenyan dream that was briefly interrupted in 2013 when Jubilee rigged itself into the presidency will now be reinvigorated to the extent that now the dream we had when we were teenagers at the university of having a Kenya that would be a land of opportunities for all Kenyans, that dream now starts today. So today what we expect is NASA to announce, to unveil its flag bearer, and also the lineup in terms of how the government, the NASA government would be formed. And now you're talking. In terms of positions. Precisely. In terms of sharing among the 4 or 5 individuals. No, not positions, yes. On how we have strategically placed all the core principles, including Isaac Ruto, so that they can maximally contribute to the leadership of this country. Yes. Okay. The Kenyans will remember when we attempted through the Grand Coalition government to have an all-inclusive government, the country's affairs were run fairly well. So we are hoping that with this new structure things will even be better. Question. Of course I know the date for 27th April is arrived at because the party primaries were to end on 26th. That was yesterday. Yes. That has since changed. The period of the party primaries has been extended. Most of the Jubilee voting is done, but there are enough repeat processes going on this entire week. ODM is yet to conduct its party primaries for Nairobi, which is slated for Sunday, as it is right now. Did you consider changing today's date? Yes, we thought about it, but then it was a question of where does the scale fall. So it fell for us going ahead. Kenyans would not have liked that we postpone. Otherwise, it would have been more tidy if we had made the announcement after the conclusion of all the nominations. But the scale says, no, Kenyans want the flag bearer now, and we shall give them today.
Senator Nyangapu, what do you anticipate? Are you excited by this day?
No. Walisema wahenga walisema mbiu ya mkambo ikilia kuna jambo.
Na imelia.
Leo Khalwale anafaa tofauti sana. Different from us. Meaning is on his attire for the party, meaning they are today they can confidently tell us who their presidential candidate is, but he's struggling to tell us other things which we don't want to hear.
What?
You know, you don't tell us how you want to go and govern the way the Grand Coalition government is. That's not what our constitution is saying. Our constitution is quite different from today. It's the winner. Tell us that you are ready to offer Kenyans a presidential candidate. Then we can study and look at it. But from my perspective as an elected leader, this is 27th of April. Barely less than 4 months, seriously, to the election. You are really taking Kenyans for a ride. That presidential candidate should have been known April last year, for people to subject the fellow into scrutiny and the manifesto, or you want to ambush us. So that's why Kanu, we opted and looked at the options and looked at the agenda, who has the best agenda for the season to continue or to lead this nation. Then we decided to start with Uhuru Kenyatta. So I'm asking my brother here, I don't know what you're going to announce. It is late. Although they say better late than never, but to me it is late. You actually you have killed the momentum and the morale of those people who have stood for NASA or code, and you would have already poached one or two from this other side, but now the majority are coming to our side.
You know what you're saying.
Tamatang is just itching.
You want to comment?
No, I'll come back to you. We'll come back to you and can respond to everything later.
Well, you know, I have itched before so many times on this matter until it stopped itching. And then I think the best way to capture the mood of the moment, the country, is from what Lonyengapo says. You know, when you ask him, are you excited? And then he answers with like simple flat no, because it's not possible. I mean, excitement.
Are you suggesting that it's sort of an anticlimax?
Actually, you know, you asked him a very vital question, but he played it down. You asked him, is it well placed with the nominations going on and so on to continue with this, and then he played it out and say, fine, we thought this and that and that. But the reality is, one, I think they must have wanted to use this as a deflection, you know, to divert attention from what is going on in most of their parties. Because let's ask this question genuinely and contribute to it. Given what you have seen going on in ODM stroke NASA, because, and I say this, you know, the composition of NASA per se, more than 80% of its movement and power and capacity is ODM. Actually, the flag bearer they're going to name is the same one that we've known here for a long time. Remember, we had this debate, and he named the flag bearer here. It's the leader of ODM. But what you have done downwards and has been done in the elections process, the nomination process, by ODM and then by extension by NASA, cannot be anything to excite anybody to even wait for a flag bearer of. I mean, Halwale, I think, in fact, if you ask me as a leader of Ford Kenya, your best way forward would have been to soldier on as an independent party on your own. But otherwise, the mess, the mud, the muck that you have gone through and taken yourself through with this NASA thing is terrible. I mean, no Kenyan who is genuine in their pursuit of well-being and peace in this country would support NASA. Look at what has happened, man, in your elections. Violence, murder. Do you know, although we've been cautioned all the time, to be mindful of the kind of content that we circulate in social media. But for goodness sake, if you saw some of the photographs that were doing around in the social media of people literally having their throats split, I mean, their backs, you know, slashed like cattle, like animals in the ODM areas where they were having them. It's I mean, you know, it reminded me of Rwanda, and it's terrible, you know. So if you juxtapose those kind of activities and actions with then again a story of the same people saying that we are now going to unveil a flag bearer and a government structure. You have heard them saying.
Senator Lole, please respond to this sentence.
And how
it
they're going to share power.
It is truly laughable listening to a professor who I respect a lot, and Wamatangi, say on one hand that we have misconducted ourselves, we've made the announcement for the flag bearer too late in the day, and therefore we're not going to win. It is laughable because it is in your interest that we lose. Since you are our competitors, it is in your interest that we lose. So why are you advising us on how we should have beaten you? Let me tell you, Matangi, keep your cool. Let me tell you, I know you are not a fan of soccer. You cannot.
I'm a Man U fan.
Yeah? Oh, you are a Man U fan. Very good. You cannot expect the lineup for Man U when Mourinho is facing Antonio Conte of Chelsea to be named for Mourinho by Antonio Conte. Mourinho will have to name his lineup. Allow us to name our lineup. We will face you. But more importantly, you know, Professor, let's be candid. The Pokots who you represent, who are my neighbors, are actually in NASA. And so are the Elekeo Marakwets, and so are the Turkanas, and so are the Tugens in Baringo. Why? Because Jubilee has completely mismanaged security in that area. For 5 years, little children don't go to school. And Professor, God will ask you one day, you remember the bus 3 months ago? Not the bus, the truck that governor had to take to go and evacuate school children when at the heat of violence. And when governor was coming out with that truck, they shot little children now singing on the bus, because it was now over. The only thing the children could do was to sing, to hang together. Thank God they survived. Your people have moved out. The only reason why Kanu, and therefore Professor, is in Jubilee is because Gideon Moi, after his father and Uhuru's mother had a meeting in Nakuru in Kabarak, they decided our children cannot separate. Gideon then changed his mind. You and me, tell these Kenyans that we have sat with you with Gideon when Gideon is telling us that I'm going to run for president, I cannot wait anymore. And then all of a sudden he decides otherwise. That is why you, Professor, during the famous bill in Parliament, you voted against Jubilee. You voted with us.
Professor, you need to respond to that.
First of all,
is very good.
it is the truth.
Let's allow the good professor to speak.
It is so bad and serious to speak from the point of ignorance. One, he claims to be my neighbor, which is false.
It's true. In Trans-Nzoia.
How false? This man doesn't live in Trans-Nzoia. Kakamega is several kilometers away from West Pokot. Number one.
My family.
Number two.
Do you know a place called Cherangani?
Wait a minute. I know.
A place called Kapsara. Yes, our family lives in Kapsara.
You know, dealing with the scholars, you know, you have a farm. He comes to farm and goes to, he lives in Kakamega. Two, when he purports to say that Pokot are in NASA, how false a person can go? Because you should be asking me how we are doing. I want to assure and tell my neighbor here, you will, even to get 2 or 3%, you just come and look for me, I'll donate some 2-3%.
I have one more question for you with regard to the NASA announcement today. And do you think with all these people fighting for their political survival today, that probably the oomph that would have gone into this announcement has somewhat been taken away? We're looking at people like David Musila, who's struggling in Kitui, and he is a chairperson of the Wiper Party. Jacoy Midiwa, a senior ranking member of the National Assembly, and as far as ODM is concerned, also a huge push for the party. Dalmas Otieno struggling. Rarieda MP Nicholas Gumbo here struggling. Karolio Mondia, an aide of the ODM party leader. With all these people fighting for their political survival currently, do you think today's event has lost something?
No, not at all. The real prime movers of today's events are as follows. The Pentagon and the 5 members of the Pentagon have not been affected by these nominations. Number 2, the National Committee of Technical Experts. It has not been affected by these events. 3, the National Coordinating Committee, on which I sit, Chris Wamalo sits, Dr. Seli sits, Orengo sits, Mudama sits. All of them have not been affected. People like Musila, Jacob Mediwo, Dalmas Otieno that you are referring to are not insofar as these particular arrangements are concerned. We've also
even as a party chairperson, because Wiper is in the coalition as a party,
he doesn't represent Wiper. In fact, the co-chair of Wiper, who represents Wiper in that committee, is Senator Mudama. He's the co-chair, together with Senator Orengo, Dr. Eseli for Fort Kenya, and Bunyasi for ANC, and Ruto is yet to name a co-chair to the committee. So all is good. There's absolutely no problem. And also for purposes of today's events, we've been so professional. We have completely outsourced the events organization. The events organizers, we have outsourced it, both in terms of security and everything. We are touching nothing. We are just going there like people going to a wedding, to pick the girl. And
before the bride is unveiled today, I need to ask you a question, because now the other thing that changed as far as NASA is concerned, the inclusion of...
Why are you laughing at me? Because, you know, I mean, I was just cautioning Fred. Please stop referring to this as a bride. It's a divorcee. and divorced 5 times since 2002. Professor, can you protect me? What is this guy talking about? You could only have a tradition already.
My question is, the inclusion of Isaac Ruto, given what we've seen in the Jubilee Party primaries in recent days, what we saw in Bomet, Joyce Laboso, a very senior contender, clinching the Jubilee Party ticket for the race for governor in Bomet County with over 100,000 votes. Now Isaac Ruto has moved to NASA. That mathematics, Professor Lonyangapuo, do you think Isaac Ruto made the correct move, the right move, rather?
First of all, I need to protect him. He's not a divorcee.
Thank you. There's a flag there. Divorce 5 times.
Coming direct to the point, as we move towards that, Kalwale was trying to say how Musila and others were affected and the others were not. Looks like what NASA did, they protected some people. Particularly in the technical committee, they didn't allow competitors to go with them. Those one who are in the they talked about 3 layers and all these others, they didn't allow any competitor, Eseli and others. As to whether Isaac did his arithmetic well,
given what we've seen,
given what we have seen, yes. Even before this came, Isaac is my close friend and I wish him very well. But we come from the same terrain where where we have a lot of challenges within our political class. There we have KANU, we have Jubilee, we have now CCM. For CCM to be formed, it was as a result of some discomfort in URP and now Jubilee, isn't it? And now KANU remain because we didn't want to dissolve ourselves. So because of that, there is a little bit of some acrimony. In a house, you don't expect people to be properly at peace. So long as they are not at war, but you can disagree, but to agree. That is why we say we remain in Jubilee with one presidential candidate as we know. Which party KANU will support, which party Jubilee party will support. Now we have very many others, and we propose and we told Isaac with ECCM we continue because the same nomenclature is there. The people who are standing with us from the Rift Valley terrain, they still believe in the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta. So what will happen now, was looking at what has happened the other day, to me I think he should have remained in this arithmetic of working with the president through whichever party you are in, and thereafter chat your way. So, but getting annoyed to the extent that they reached, to me I think they went overboard. So, but we wish him well. So I don't know what they have given.
What do you think of his chances, seeing the kind of win that Joyce Laboso had in the Jubilee primaries? Now with Isaac Ruto going to NASA, what are his chances of retaining his seat now? As
at the moment, you can't compare them because as for nomination, Isaac is 100% because nobody's standing with him. Nomination
but the kind of turnout that came and voted for Joyce.
What did you want those people to do? You were supposed to go and vote, isn't it? They needed to go and exercise their rights. It doesn't mean that they are 100% Jubilee, but they will. It is going to be a grueling battle. If he remained in with Uhuru Kenyatta as president, Isaac was going to win. As it is now man for himself, God for us,
God for us all, and man for
himself, and man and woman. Now they are there too. Lastly, unless if NASA miraculously here in the next few minutes, as he claims, will announce Isaac as a presidential candidate. Yes.
That is only. Yes, Senator Omatangi.
You know, as they say, birds of a feather flock together, and you can now see where the birds that have the same feather with Isaac are. I mean, and I would say closely to what Professor says. I am a bit saddened for Isaac. I met him quite a few times during our sessions in the Public Accounts Committee, and he came up as somebody who can be able to deliberate and make considerations on good content. But this move that he made, and the question one would want to ask is, what interest was he pursuing? And I think, as you can see, because he's amongst other self-seekers, he must have been just pursuing a personal interest, as I've said, and probably hoping that in that so-called lineup that he'll be featuring somewhere. But more so relevant to the question you've asked, what are his chances? I think he's literally shot himself in the foot. He's sold himself out. In Bomet, as you have said, what are the number of registered voters? So you would ask logically, what would be the percentage of people you would expect to come out to vote in a nomination in such a county? And if you look at the turnout and the votes between Laboso and her rival Connors, and then again now Connors coming out to say now we support Laboso.
And if I could go, just mention the numbers. Joyce Laboso got 115,289.
Yes.
Julius Connors got 72,546. The other one is Stephen Mutai, who got 8,895. And it's the turnout, because now this is 80, it's almost 200,000.
That's the point I was making. If you see that kind of turnout in a nomination, not in a general election, now that tells you that Isaac has made a big miscalculation of his political destiny. One, the county he's leading is Bomet. Bomet is in a region that is solidly behind Jubilee. And I don't know which cards he was expecting to shuffle after this, so that he can have Jubilee members going to vote for him Because in the first place, he's not withdrawn his candidature as a governor of the same county. If he was saying that he wants to go and be nominated as a flag bearer and leave the county, then that would be a move that would be wise for him.
And this kind of numbers, Senator Halwale, and that's my point, this kind of numbers, 200,000, 150,000, are numbers expected in a party stronghold. Like in Kiambu, where because it's predominantly Jubilee, you expect numbers 300,000 and 350,000 for Ferdinand Waititu. It is understandable. But 200,000 in an area where Isaac Ruto expects that his party, Chama cha Mashinani, also has some significant stake. 200,000 taking part in a Jubilee party nominations should send some signal.
I want to agree with you and agree with my two colleagues that is a red flag. 200,000 people turning out to participate in a nomination is a statement that they were going to take part in affairs of their party. And their party, for this matter, is Jubilee. So Isaac should prepare himself for a bruising battle. It's not going to be easy. I remember the latest opinion poll, if it's anything to go by, it showed that Isaac were neck to neck with Laboso. And it was like that before Joyce Laboso was nominated. Now that he has been nominated, I believe there's been a bit of wind that has been blown behind her wings, and therefore she might even have reduced that particular margin further. So Isaac should work extremely hard. However, having said that, I think my two colleagues here don't know Isaac. Obviously they don't know. This one is too young. When we were at the university, I think he hadn't joined much those days where he was. Let me tell you, Isaac, you have
no hair, you're still enjoying.
Yeah, I'm amused that you're calling a senior professor,
and we work with
who has been you're saying you're calling him young.
He's a young man in his 40s. He's in his 40s. We are in the 50s.
How old are you? Are you 54 like me?
Oh, you're 54? Then where were you when you were at the university? You must have gone to India.
No.
You are making
sorry. So people, some people who have never worked with Isaac, they don't know who he is. Isaac is a nationalist. In fact, in 2005, when we were at Bomas of Kenya, Isaac played a critical role on the devolution chapter when we were working on the so-called the Bomas draft. In 1982, Isaac was in third year when I was in first year at the University of Nairobi. Isaac was one of the student leaders who led us into supporting the Air Force soldiers when they wanted to overthrow a government led by a Kalenjin. Isaac is a nationalist. People don't know that. And as I've said earlier, Kalenjins have this thing of following principled leaders. I'll not therefore be surprised if Isaac surprises people the way Alfred Keter, who has been a harsh critic of Jubilee, has surprised Kenyans. Isaac will win.
Okay. Before we continue that conversation, let's take an update from Nakuru. Remember, Nakuru is one of those counties where Jubilee Party was carrying out its primaries yesterday. Results continue coming in. None has been declared yet. We now link up with our reporter, Wilkista Nyabo from Nakuru. Wilkista, very good morning to you. Do you have any results you can give us from Nakuru?
Good morning. It's rather loud here at Menengai Social Hall in Nakuru County. This is the tallying center for Nakuru Town East, and tallying is ongoing. Results have been trickling in all night, and they continue to come in even at this hour. What we do know is that this is one of the tallying centers of 11 tallying centers in Nakuru County, all of them relaying information to one main tallying center where all the results will be announced at the end of the day. And what we have seen so far is that out of 183 polling stations that have so far submitted their results to the main tallying center in Nakuru County, we do see we do see Lee Kinyanjui taking an early lead in the Nakuru governor's race. However, these are only 183 polling stations, and there should be about 900 polling stations, so anything could happen between now and then. However, Lee Kinyanjui taking the lead with 25,944 votes so far. Kinuthia Mbugua trailing him with 21,937, and John Mutudo with 3,299. These are only out of 183 polling stations, so it's still early days. We are also seeing results in the Senate race also beginning to come in. Susan Kihika has a strong lead so far, but it is not many, counting hasn't taken place in a lot of stations yet. We also do know that polling is still ongoing. It has started this morning in 12 polling stations in Joro that did not receive complete sets of ballot papers yesterday. We are informed that the ballot papers arrived early and that voting was set to start at around 9. We will be checking up on those polling stations, just seeing whether voting has started. But this also means that now, while tallying might be continuing, there will not be a final number until voting is closed in those stations and they are able to relay their results. So quite a bit of activity in Nakuru County this morning, and we will just be following up on that, trying to see what the numbers look like and what they shape up to be like in the course of the day. Back to you, Fred.
Thank you, Wilkista Nyabo, there live from Nakuru, where vote counting continues from the Jubilee Party primaries that were carried out yesterday. And of course, Wilkista will be coming back to you once those final results are declared for the various contests. Very tight races there for the Jubilee Party ticket, the governor's race, the senatorial race as well as the various members of parliament. And Nakuru is considered one of the Jubilee Party, not outright stronghold, but Jubilee Party has a huge stake in that county as well. Now I want to wrap up our conversation here in studio with the Senators Boni Halwale, Professor Lonyangapuo, and Senator Kimani Wamatangi from Kiambu. Now, gentlemen, final words on this. Who is the man to watch? Probably you should start there. And I know last week you said the man to watch. It didn't happen again because there was no announcement. But who's the man to watch, Senator Halwale, today? Who's the man or woman to watch?
Before I answer that, please allow me to appeal.
Yes.
In the interest of national cohesion. President Uhuru announced to the Republic that he had marked the nomination process to Ruto, his deputy. And Ruto should go to page 3 of the Nation today, which says, outsider leading MP race denied Jubilee ticket. And they say Kevin Okwara, who was leading with over 9,000 votes, was denied the ticket because he comes from outside. I want to tell the Deputy President this is a dangerous message that you're going to send, because just like all the constituencies in Trans Nzoia, the constituencies in Lugari, Likuyani, Tarbo, those are settler constituencies, and Deputy President, you know as much. So the presence of Luyas and Kalenjins concurrently in settler constituencies, including Kikuyus, should not be taken to mean that somebody comes from outside or comes from inside. The Luyas who are in Tarbo constituencies are there by dint of settlement, just like the Kalenjins. And therefore, to term Kevin Okwaro, a young Luya politician that is an outsider, and this boy was born and bred in Tarbo. Their farm there at Mailtisa, you know it, that used to belong to, you know it, that used to belong to some
He doesn't come from there.
Oh, you come from Nakuru, you told me. So the Deputy President, because you are the lead man in this process, give this Luya boy Kevin Okwaro his ticket. He has won. He's going to lead that constituency that is made of Kalenjins and Kikuyus, just like the outgoing MP has done. Yes. Now, to your question, who is going to be the man
or woman to watch in terms of news headlines tomorrow morning when we wake up? Which name will we be reading? Today we're reading Uhuru Raila.
Yes.
Those are the names on the headlines.
Yes.
What names? I think on On the Standard, it's Sonko Kenneth. So tomorrow morning when we wake up,
all the
which
papers,
name
all the papers from tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks will be hogged by only one person, the NASA flag bearer. And because I know the name of that NASA flag bearer, don't force me to say it here. Wait just for a few hours, just across here, 50 meters away from here, we're going to announce.
Okay.
Yes.
That's a very safe question.
Yes.
Professor Lonyangapuo, who's
not 50, what 200 meters away from here,
yes,
we're going to announce.
What name do you expect to be on the headlines tomorrow?
First of all, name will follow, but Okwara is not a Luya. Okwara is a Kenyan. I want that clarification to come,
fine.
So that he was voted by everybody there, including the Kalenjin, Luyas, Luos, and the Kikuyu. So let's look at it from that perspective. Two, which you didn't know, most of these shambolic nominations and the correct ones were done with a lot of things in mind. Correct ones were done because they wanted you. Two, the opponents would also send their people to come and jam there, make sure you fail, or they give you a false hope to make sure that your votes are very high, like Joyce. You know, this one of Bomet is 30% only, because we have 340,000 voters in Bomet. So, and don't joke with ISAD must have sent all the CCM, go and do this so that the lady can just be mesmerized. Now I've won. and then by August, he surprises them. ISAD was going to get 90% if he remained with Uhuru Kenyatta. But by choosing to go the way he went, he may get 60 to 65, or something like that. That I know.
So you still focus on
win, but a narrow one. Lastly, what will appear tomorrow?
The name.
The name will...
Man or woman to watch tomorrow's headline.
What will happen? People are going to write tomorrow. Finally, NASA unveils so and so. And that's not the part now when Jubilee will say, we knew.
You knew what?
This is the same man.
Call out the name.
I cannot predict them.
No. I've asked you a simple one. The name that you expect to be on this headline.
It is even shown here. Raila expected to be picked. Meaning, and then we will actually say...
So you expect Raila's name to be on the headlines tomorrow?
Hata nyinyi mnaniambia because you have written.
Okay. Man or woman to watch?
I think I concur with what my colleagues say in terms of being on the headlines.
Yes.
But not in terms of being in the headlines for the right reason.
No,
what? You know, you can be in the headlines for all the wrong reasons, and I believe this gentleman who will be the flag bearer is named there, and as we have always known, will be the flag bearer, will be in the headlines. NASA will be in the headlines, but like I've said, not
man or woman to watch?
Sure. The one who will be on the headlines.
You're not mentioning the name for the sake of our viewers.
To be Raila, as they have said. But
I have
he may not necessarily be on the headlines for the right reasons.
In view of what he has just said, that Raila might be on the headlines for the wrong reasons. You know, him and I, we share the same social platform. And one of the contributors has sent us a text saying that Wamatangi is a great leader. In fact, a great mobilizer from the Mount Kenya region. His only problem, he is Jubilee Kidomodom.
That's on Twitter.
Jubilee Kidomodom.
It's a friend of mine. I was joking with them on what the guy was saying. But you know, and also with what Senator Halwala was saying about that Okwara man. I think it's also good to be fair to the deputy president. You know, really, he doesn't vote and participate in those elections. And I thought, Halwale, I heard you saying off cuff, but I know you meant it. That you intended to congratulate Jubilee for the way we have conducted nominations.
I did.
And you missed that part. If you did,
can I say it emphatically?
Yes, that you are you know, as you congratulate us. You congratulate us being mindful of the fact that the same person you're trying to vilify is part of the process. And let me correct you. It's not only the deputy president. It is the entire Jubilee leadership. And so for all the work done, you give credit to them. He's played a major role. And so now you can go on and give us your congratulations. You promised to do so.
The congratulations is that I'm not
because, you know, we've done a good job in terms of conducting a fair process.
I'm not a newspaper reporter. I've quoted page 3 of The Nation today. And I've quoted the fact that the president said he was marking that responsibility.
And to be fair to Senator Halwale, he actually congratulated the Jubilee earlier on the show.
He did?
In as far as their conduct of the party.
Yes, we didn't hear. And then third comment, Deputy President is a voter in Turbo. So having congratulated Jubilee for credible election, an election that gave Kevin Okwara a victory, let them not take it away from him.
Okay.
No victory is
well, gentlemen, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much, Senator Boni Halwale, Senator Professor John Lonyangapuo, and Senator Kimani Wamatangi. I'm sure now you'll be heading out to buy Senator Wamatangi breakfast. Now that you have confirmation that that he actually clinched the Jubilee Party ticket to defend his seat, Senator for Kiambu.
But maybe after they have after the flag bearers naming and nomination,
that's also
that time I can congratulate them as well.
That has been our news review this morning. We continue with a special coverage of the political party primaries. Of course, we need to give way for another group to come in and continue with this session. Good morning.